Hi, Pavithra. Good
Yeah.
afternoon. So,
Hello,
would
good
you like
afternoon.
to give me a quick introduction about yourself as a who you are,
Yeah,
what you
sure.
do?
I'm Pavithra Kumar, and I'm an MBA in finance. I graduated from the Mysore University, and then I have a banking experience of 13 years. I worked as a branch operations manager in ICICI, Kotak, and
Mm-hmm.
then Jana Bank. Then I joined
Okay.
Cuemath 1.5 years back. So initially, I
Okay.
just took up the foundation classes. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm certified for coding and international also. So I teach
Mm-hmm.
students abroad and Indian students as well. So I have
Mm-hmm.
about 22 students with me now.
Wow, wonderful. So, how come the transition from banking to a maths teacher? Do you want to talk about how
Yeah.
that happened?
Yeah, that's what everybody asks me. See, actually, I wanted to be in a bank initially, so I joined a bank. I was in finance and I got into banking. And you know how it is now, the stress levels in work job in a private corporate life. And my family demanded my presence at home, so I was looking for something where I can do a work from home job. I looked for a lot of things, which I tried many, to tell you frankly, tried many, many things, but nothing
Mm-hmm.
was. So that's where the word passion is going to come up. So nothing was. I was not happy with any of those because you should be happy with what you're doing and give time for your family. So that's when I saw the ad of QMath in Facebook, and I just applied, and I got a call. That's when it all started. So I didn't.
Okay.
I had never thought about teaching before that. Till I just
Mm-hmm.
by chance came across the ad. Since I liked maths, I just stopped and went into QMath, and since math was my favorite subject, I went into it. So that went very successful. That's when I realized that I like teaching so much, and I just enjoyed. So adding
Wonderful.
students didn't become difficult for me, and talking to parents was also not difficult for me because I've already worked in a corporate. And I know how customers are. So
Right.
it's really
Oh, so
nice.
it's interesting. You brought in all those experiences and skill sets into this.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that you anyway briefly mentioned passion, so how would so when you did realize that you liked teaching math, I'm sure that's where passion did come about. So
Yes.
how would you go about describing it, or sort of how can you clarify that word passion when you said that? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. Sriram, if you asked me this question 2 years back, I would really just give you an Oxford Dictionary definition. Okay. I had no idea. I would just say
Okay.
passion is a desire, it's whatever. But to tell you frankly, only after I started teaching, I realized that this is what is passion. And that's why
Right.
I was very happy to take this topic and talk about it because I
Right.
realized that this is my passion. I've done so many things. If people ask me, I said I like to do drawing, I like teaching, I like so many things. I
Right.
like to be a banker
Right.
also, but I
Right.
was never passionate to be a banker. So if you want me to
Right.
describe passion, I can say that I love teaching. That I'm very happy doing what I'm doing now. Okay, it was not. It's not that I was
Right.
not happy earlier, but the satisfaction
Right.
which I get when I teach, when I finish a class, the feeling, I can call it as a passion. Every day, when I see a child smile, when I make him or her understand something, that is my. I feel that increases my passion to teach even more. So I think each person
Okay.
will define it differently because passion is different for everybody. Somebody can say passion is music, right? So I can
Correct.
ask you, Shriram,
Right.
now if you think of your any of your school subjects, let's say you think of social science, okay?
Mhm.
When you think of social science, do you remember a particular teacher or you remember the chapters? Can you think for a minute and tell me?
Yeah, I probably remember my seventh standard geography teacher now that you ask me.
Yeah, see, there
For
might
sure,
be
that sort
so
of comes
many
up.
teachers who have come across in your life, right? But when you take
Right.
one subject, there is one teacher who you will remember for some reason, maybe whatever is the reason. So I
Right.
feel if I'm able
Right.
to make an impact on the student whom I'm teaching, and there's a smile that comes end of the day, then I'm really passionate about that.
It's interesting you say that. So let's taper into teaching and passion because that seems to be how you're sort of defining passion itself.
Yeah.
So, how relevant do you think passion is in teaching, or rather, how does passion influence teaching as a teacher? in that sense?
See, as a teacher, I think passion plays a very important role, both for the teacher and the student. So, for the teacher, I can say that if I have passion in teaching, I would love my job. I would love what I'm doing. Like, if I say I'm taking a 45-minute class, if I'm doing it just for the sake of teaching, just finish the class, every minute would be difficult for me. And if there's a doubt, I would feel why this student is asking a doubt. And it goes on like that. Okay, but if
Correct.
there is a teacher who is passionate about teaching, okay, every question of the student becomes a challenge. And the minute the
Right.
teacher resolves and explains it, and the student is clear with a good solution, it is so interesting, and it gives a satisfaction that I have done. Most of the classes, I feel 45 minutes is just gone. Okay, it makes a lot of difference. Okay, if it makes your life easy, if you have passion towards your work, I could say from the role of a teacher, if you
Right.
have passion in your work, that is what it's like a dream, right? Most of us are not happy with job lives. I've been in corporate world, I know how it is. So if you
Right.
have passion towards what you're working, then that's really a dream. And if you want to tell me
Right.
about learning, how a teacher can impact this, teacher will play a very important role. Like the way a passionate teacher teaches or explains will be completely different. Okay, because here a passionate teacher will think about the end result, how the student is able to understand or not. The teacher will identify each student separately and just not teach it in the same way, right? Because each student is different, right? I cannot teach the same way to every student. So if I'm passionate
Correct.
about teaching, I will think what ways I have to use to make this student understand. So
Right.
it becomes very
Right.
easy for the student and the teacher. And the student also will start loving the subject, as I already asked you, right? So if they say math, any student, my students, if they say math, for life, they should remember my name. So that is, I feel, in a way,
Right.
being passionate on the subject.
That's very nice, man. So can you be a little bit more specific about why you find where passion comes from for teaching math? How can you probably elaborate a little bit more as to
See,
why teaching math gives you so much joy or satisfaction?
yeah, see, first of all, like I told you, passion has to be there in any teaching, not only math. But why it is important for math is we know how important math is becoming of late, right? Earlier, it used to be just a subject, how we were all taught math. Just what to do,
Hmm.
we just know how it is to be done, and we do it that way. But math is completely different. We know it's a life skill, how important it is for the future generation, right? So if we
Hmm.
need to explain the concepts, if we need, whether we tell the kids or not, these days you see that they themselves ask why. For everything they ask why. But when it comes to math, nobody teaches why. Everybody teaches what you're supposed to do this, do that, right? So when you
Right.
have to teach why, you definitely need to have the concept uh, clearly understood by the student. So to make something understand, you should get into the subject, because these are all basics, right? If you take a first grade or second grader student, if the student starts loving the subject, the student will love the subject only when there's passion in teaching. Because when there's passion in teaching, the teaching itself becomes fun, it becomes a lot of
Mm.
enjoyment in the class. There should be a humor.
Right.
The teacher has to be a little strict, has to be a little humorous. At the same time, teach it in a
Right.
way which the student wants. So if the passion is included, math concepts are clearer. Okay, it's a teaching
Right.
for life. It remains in the memory of the student for life.
Right.
I
Right.
hope I
Right.
answered your question.
No, no, no. You've done a fabulous job, man. That's correct. So let me switch gears and talk a little bit about how QMath sort of uh, where does QMath fall into this whole journey of you figuring out teaching and your true passion, like you're saying, teaching
Yeah.
math. That is. So what was QMath's role in all of this?
Yeah, to tell you that it was only QMAT that made me realize that I have a passion for teaching. Because, like I
Okay.
told you, I never thought about being a teacher. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, but I had never thought of becoming a teacher anytime. I had
Mm-hmm.
taken a couple of trainings in my previous organization. Still, I never realized that I am into teaching. So
Mm-hmm.
when I started taking classes, students started coming home, and the first thing I liked about QMAT, to tell you why I chose QMAT, not any other program, as math was my favorite subject, and the way QMath is teaching the students. That is
Mm-hmm.
what I loved, the concept of Cuemath. Okay, like I told you, they
Mm-hmm.
teach why before what. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
why something is done this way, because math was totally
Mm-hmm.
different earlier days. It is like any
Mm-hmm.
student you see, maybe it is easy for me or for my son, but I used to see a lot of my friends, their children suffering in maths. It was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw
Right.
the type of teaching which is done in QMath, what they are following, and I was totally impressed, and I thought that I should give it a try. So,
Okay.
like, it's a completely different way of thinking about math, right? So I knew that any kid will fall in love with math. I was very sure about it. So even before I started taking classes, I was so confident. I used to tell the parents, "You please enroll your child, and you see a transformation in your children." So I
Right.
like the concept of that QMath. And like I told you, because of QMath only, I started getting students. And when I started teaching and I started seeing every class, how happy I would be. Initially, my family used to tell me, after you finish every class, you come out so happy. It was all small changes.
That's
I
so
didn't
nice.
realize it overnight. Okay, it just happened. I used
Right.
to be happy, happy. I used to be talking, laughing, singing. So they used to tell me, we observe that you finish the class and come, you're very happy. That's when I realized that I really enjoy this. See, kids,
Right.
time with kids is wonderful, right? And you make them
Right.
happy, you make them understand something. It's a subject which I love, and I make somebody else
Right.
fall in love with the subject. So complete credit goes to QMan, not to anybody else. Because
Okay.
to tell you frankly, I saw a lot of programs. The only thing which impressed me was QMan.
That's good, ma'am. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
something that's you've been quite nicely. You said that. So the next thing I wanted to ask you was one of the things that math for sure is not associated, at least to the extent that
Sorry,
I am aware.
sorry, your
Hello,
voice is
can you
breaking.
hear
I
me?
didn't get you. Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, yeah.
So one of the things that I, as this is more I have sort of I feel I sense, is that math and passion seldom go along, or at least math I feel will be more associated with fear, difficulty. So what
Exactly.
would be there are two parts to this. How would you sort of advise students to find the passion in math, or associate math with something more pleasant and something you can enjoy? For students firstly, and then probably to teachers, because you seem to be you interact with students as well as you go through what a teacher goes through, so I feel you can
Yes.
throw some light there.
Yes. See, actually, your question itself has your answer. Like, if there's something which is too difficult for you, okay, and it
Right.
doesn't become, if, the minute you feel it's not difficult for you, you feel so happy, right?
Right.
Like, I tell somebody,
Mm.
anybody who tells me that this subject is very difficult for me, any subject, say science or social science. So I tell them, why is it difficult for you? Because you don't know it, right? The minute you understand it, you study that, you understand it, you start liking it, right? Something you don't know, you find it difficult, and then you start not liking it. There's a point when you feel you don't get it at all, and then you start hating it. So that's what becomes for most of the students for math, because initially they don't know why we are doing this. Basically, you're just being asked to do something, you're doing that, then they don't understand what they're doing, don't know why, don't know what. Then everything
Mm-hmm.
stops there, and initially it becomes a
Mm-hmm.
fear, it becomes whatever, math is dreadful, it becomes, right? So for a student,
Right.
what I say is, see, if you take in a point of scoring, or you take science or social science, anything, there can be a different aspect, or there can be something different each person can say. But math, you learn today 2 plus 2 is 2, forever it is the same. So you learn once, you learn the tables. For all your life, it is there. So you take any
Right.
concept, you understand what's a multiple, you understand what's a factor. The minute you understand, it becomes easy. So I can't say that
Mm-hmm.
every student will be passionate toward math. It is not possible, because each
Correct.
person's passion is
Right.
different. At least I feel, as a passionate teacher, I can ensure that the students don't fear math, don't hate math, and see the other side of math, because it's so
Right.
beautiful.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I
Hello.
think it got
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
disconnected.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, working with numbers, and numbers are really wonderful to work with. As so, it's in the hands of a teacher to make the student fall in love with the subject. But getting a student to have math as a passion, it's not in the hands of the teacher, of course, because each
Right.
person's
Right.
passion is different, right? So you can definitely make
Right.
any person fall in love with math. I have students who have really their previous day they used to cry on the day of the exam, and now they're so happy and they're not at all scared. And the complete credit, I should say, goes to
Hmm.
Cuemath, the way of teaching, and a passionate teacher.
Oh, that's nice. So interesting. So we've covered teacher's role, we've covered where the student should attitude of the student. Where do parents fall into this equation according to you? How do you think parents can support their children in seeing building their passion towards maths, let's say? What
Yeah.
do you see the parents' role as?
See, I think parents, most of the parents whom I meet are also, they come to us in the first place because they don't like maths or they're scared of maths. So they cannot teach math. So I feel that feeling of fear of math starts at home. Okay, because I've seen most
Okay.
of the mothers talk in front of their kids that I don't know maths, it's very difficult for me. That's why. So what happens is even before the student knows what the subject is, the fear starts building. So, if you ask me,
Yes,
I would
right,
first
right,
tell the parents not to have a negative feeling towards the subject. Okay, we cannot ask the parents to sit with us and learn what it is now, but at least give a positive feeling about the subject and tell them why math is so important for your future. Okay, and it's nothing, it's not rocket science, definitely. If you ask me, it is the easiest subject anybody can do. And just not create a negative feeling and try to be around.
right,
If you don't know, don't say this is too hard for me. Just say positive
right,
things. We didn't learn math this way. That's a fact. I asked the parents to tell their kids that we didn't learn maths fun way. It was completely different. This is fun learning. And if possible, relate
right.
whatever we teach, right? Whatever we teach in class, relate it because they spend more time with the students, relate it to their personal life. Like when they go to a shop, you tell me how much change you take,
Mm,
because that's all a practice,
mm.
right? It's not only writing.
Correct,
Everything
correct,
is a
correct.
practice. You go to the shop, I've
Right.
given money, just ask how much change you can take. Small contributions will impact a lot from the parents.
Super, super, ma'am. I think you've covered everything. Is
Yeah.
there any bits that you probably want to add to passion? Last sort of summarizing, last sort of 2 3 points that you want to crystallize and say that this is what I think should be thumb rules, maybe.
So I feel that it is not that every teacher should be passionate toward math or teaching, but if a teacher wants her life to be successful, and I think to be a passionate teacher is life is so wonderful. I see that because I wait for the classes. Okay, it might not be only math; it can be I teach some other subjects also. So what I can
Okay.
say is that we as teachers, in our hands are tomorrow's youth, right? Who are tomorrow's leaders. So, if we are passionate teachers, we can make wonderful leaders for the nation. So, it's in our hands to make them. So, I feel that every teacher becomes a passionate teacher, we will be making wonderful leaders for tomorrow.
Wonderful, ma'am.